Now for the counterpart to the head and shoulders pattern, with the reverse head and shoulders pattern, sometimes also called the inverse head and shoulders pattern, which in this case doesn't drastically reverse the long-term downtrend, but still does provide substantial support, especially around the shoulder level and the upswing point that forms the head. In the low 72 range, where another reverse head and shoulders pattern forms, it isn't quite symmetrical and has a noticeable downward slope. However, these particular features don't detract from the bullish nature of the pattern and are simply variations to the reverse head and shoulders structure, which manages a more decisive break over 74 this time with a fairly moderate to steep incline. This next example is fairly symmetrical and has multiple swing points for each of the shoulders, yet it still doesn't produce a major uptrend, despite having these additional features that align with the neckline region. After all, it's not too uncommon for major swing points in the past to line up with the neckline region, just like the normal head and shoulders pattern. And if the pattern has a weak outcome, like in this case, there can be a bearish reversal pattern immediately after it finishes. In such cases, there will usually be a break back below the neckline, with the drop being more likely to continue falling until more substantial support is found around the shoulder level to head region. Dropping into the next example with a demonstration of a compact variation of the inverse head and shoulders, where there are mostly clear but small swing points, alongside this abnormal feature that resembles the usually slightly neutral to bullish price action from the middle portion of a 3 methods falling candle pattern. It forms both the left shoulder and part of the neckline at the same time. There's the break above the neckline, immediately followed by a minor bearish retracement that directs attention towards the supporting influence of these uptrend lines from the reverse head and shoulders pattern, which gradually sustain the development of this uptrend to this steep acceleration. Now here's a failed double bottom that ends up marking the central range of a bearish continuation. With the recent rebound, the bottom boundary of the range becomes relevant once again. Expectedly, there's resistance, but contact is quickly re-established with it to eventually break out. In the process, this less clear reverse head and shoulders is revealed. It has those features we discussed earlier that make the pattern harder to identify, but nonetheless, it still has a clearly defined head and neckline area, which naturally becomes the focus of support with the retracement. Here's another example where the shoulders are comprised of minor swing points that are fairly level to form a clear neckline, though this is less symmetrical with more swing points on the right side, where contact is quickly lost as a bearish reversal drops the chart down back to the head area. As soon as the chart began closing back under the shoulder level, the pattern was more likely to fail. Now attention will shift to the swing point from the head area around 66, which when broken through naturally leads to a strong bearish continuation lower. In such a case, this 66 level becomes a firm resistance level when it is recontacted. This next example starts with a similar situation where there's more contact with the right side. The number of swing points doesn't matter as much compared to whether the chart closes over the neckline area or back under the shoulder level. Then, as usual, when there's a reversal of the uptrend, strong support potential starts from the neckline area going down to the shoulder level and the head area. Even when the formation of the shoulders is less clear, the head area will usually still be quite clear and present some familiar candle patterns. Here's the familiar break over the neckline, advancing the uptrend. Now here's the situation where there's a potential double top immediately after the reverse head and shoulders has completed. Maybe a triple top now with a slight incline, or not, because there's no return back under the lower boundary, which is also the neckline of the reverse head and shoulders. Instead, a bullish continuation takes off, and these patterns become useful landmarks in the development of the uptrend. As usual, one of the most important landmarks is the neckline area, which reverses rolls between resistance and support several times. So there you have it, examples of the inverse head and shoulders pattern. Just like the head and shoulders pattern, it can have quite a lot of variation, especially with the shoulder portions and neckline area, that can contribute to this being one of the more difficult patterns to use. I hope you enjoyed these examples and found them useful. Please stay tuned for more technical analysis examples.